Good morning, y'all. Thanks for joining us. Happy Valentine's Day. Happy 110th birthday to Arizona. That's usually my holiday of choice. Arizona is a Valentine birthday. And so welcome, y'all. I'm sure you're joining us from all over too. I think I've had the pleasure of talking with some of y'all this week from all different parts of Arizona. So welcome. Michelle's joining us. So she's going to be our tech extraordinaire in the background. If y'all have chat questions, put them into the chat. You're welcome to unmute your mics or your videos and join us at any time you'd like as well. My name is Louisa. Welcome. We are going to do a little special class for y'all today to just love on your hearts and give you some good rejuvenation into your spirit so that you can carry that with you for the rest of this week. So thanks for making some time for yourselves today. We're going to go on ahead and get started, and anybody's welcome to kind of just pop in and pop out as you needed. Michelle kind of mentioned we're recording this, and so we will have this available for those not with us in person or on Zoom Live right now. But we're going to break this hour down into 3 different segments. We're going to do about 20 minutes of stretching together, and then we're going to do about 20 minutes of learning about some herbs for our hearts and chest. And then we'll spend the last 20 minutes or so doing a meditation that will kind of just bring everything together and let us move forward through this heart space for the week. So again, welcome. My name's Louisa, and I have a little bit of an eclectic background. I am an herbalist by nature and a holistic health practitioner. So while plants are my jam and I really love it, I also love movement-based activities with my yoga teaching background and really get into the mind, body, spirit component, because I feel like we need all 3 to be our happiest, healthiest selves. And so we're going to give you a little micro version of that today. The first thing that I would like everybody to do, we're going to do stretching in a standing and or seated position. So all of these things can be modified for either or. If you feel comfortable sitting where you're at, you're welcome to stay seated. If you'd like to stand, you're welcome to stand as well. I kind of use my chair as my prop so that you can kind of have them both, but I'll stay seated for the majority of it so that y'all can see the difference with those. So the first thing we're going to do this morning, I'm going to invite everybody to kind of just get their neck and their upper body warmed up. So we're going to start with some gentle stretches with your neck. I want you to think about your head like it's got a string coming out the top of it that's attached to a balloon. So own helium balloon kind of floating. It could be like a mylar balloon today for Valentine's Day. So you can imagine a great big heart shiny balloon, but you want that string to be coming off the top of your head like that balloon is floating, so that it just helps with your neck, your shoulders, and helps to start opening up this part of your body. So we're going to start with imagining our balloons, keeping our necks nice and straight, keeping our shoulders open, and just breathing in and out. In through your nose and out of your mouth. Real easy. We'll do that for a couple of moments while we're adjusting our necks and our shoulders. You do one more breath together, in through your nose and out of your mouth. Starting to feel that body moving. We're going to take our nice, strong, tall posture, and we're just going to take our chin and we're going to rotate it towards one shoulder so that that balloon is still floating nice above our heads. And just breathe in. I like to keep my hand on my heart so that it kind of just helps me monitor my breathing, make sure I'm not going too fast or too slow. You can bring your chin back to center, nice and strong. And we're going to rotate to the other side, taking your chin towards your shoulder and just breathing in and breathing out. Allowing your head to just be nice and tall. Bring your chin back to center. Take a nice deep breath in. All right, so now that our necks and chins are kind of waking up with us this morning, we're going to start opening up some of this throat and chest area. So with the throat and chest area, I want you to kind of imagine we're going to be doing something similar to a cat-cow in yoga, but we're going to keep it from our ears to our shoulders. So I want you to take your chin, and when you are breathing in, I want you to point your chin towards the sky. So take a deep breath in and pull your chin up towards the sky. And I want you to kind of fill your chest and your throat with air. And as you exhale, bring your chin back towards your chest and allow your shoulders to round a little bit. We're going to do that again. Inhale, your chest up towards the sky. And exhale, bring that chin towards your chest. Rounding it out, allowing the muscles in your neck and your shoulders to start releasing any tension. Breathe in one more time. Chin to the sky. Stretch your neck nice and tall. And exhale. Head chin towards your chest. Bring your head back to neutral and kind of roll your shoulders back just a few times. And we're going to roll them forward a few times together while just regular breathing. Good job, everybody. We're going to try that cat-cow again with our upper body, but we're going to add some arms into it. So when we breathe in and our chins go up, we're going to bring our hands with it, and I'll show you first. So it's an inhale. And then we're going to exhale. Bring our chin to our chest and our heart to our chest, or our hands to our chest. But it's almost like a resistance. So we don't want our hands to quite meet our chest. We're giving ourselves some resistance. And when we're pushing out with a little bit of force to give this stretch from our shoulders throughout our arms here. So we're going to inhale in, push up your chin and out your hands. Nice, good stretch. And then exhale, bring your chin towards your chest and some resistance for your hands. It's almost like you're using your heart to push your hands away. Inhale in, chin up, hands out. Your thumbs should be facing down so that you're getting a really good stretch from your elbows to your pinkies. And exhale, bring your chin in. Your thumbs are going to come up now towards your chest, and you're giving yourself some resistance through them shoulders. We're going to do this 2 more times. So inhale. And exhale. Sweeping those thumbs up. One more. Inhale. Thumbs down, chin up. And exhale. You can relax your hands for just a moment. For some of y'all using really good tensile force. While you're standing, another option for that could be that when you have your hands out, you can kind of dip your head back and bend your body a little bit. When you're coming in more, it's more of a stronger posture where you're really getting that resistance from your heart to your shoulders. So you can kind of bend your whole body into that while you're feeling those. All right, so now that we've got our arms and our neck woken up, we're gonna do a little bit more chest opening here. So I want you to take your hands and imagine like you're a cactus. So pick a cactus of your choice. Sometimes we're a little cattywampus, or sometimes our hands branch out if we want them a little stronger, but my cactus feels pretty good like this morning. And we're gonna be a cactus in the sun for a few breaths. So when you breathe in, I want you to take your palms, and your palms kind of follow your chin gently backwards on your inhale. And then on your exhale, they kind of just come back a little bit forward. Our elbows come a little backwards, and we're just holding some good tension. So we don't want to be like noodle arms. We want to give good resistance like a strong cactus in the desert. So we're going to breathe in, chin and palms come up. You might feel some creaking and cracking in your neck while you're doing this. And as you exhale, exhale your chin down and your elbows back just a little bit. We're going to do this for 4 more breaths. So inhale, strong cactus arms, palms up. Exhale, strong back, strong arms and elbows. Imagine it's your birthday in Arizona as a cactus, and you just get to enjoy some sunshine for your birthday today. Cactus birthday suits. Inhale in. Soak up all that sun down your chin, your palms. And exhale, elbows back, chin towards your chest. You're starting to feel these in your arms if you're holding really strong cactus arms right now. So you can kind of open and expand your chest a little bit if it's kind of getting tight on you. One more breath in. Chin up and palms back. And exhale, chin towards your chest, elbows coming back. All right, take these lovely cactus arms and we're gonna put one behind our back and then the other. If the tops of your hands are close to the top of your back, instead of the palms facing towards it, so we want palms out basically. So if you can, the small of your back is a great position. If you need to modify it a little bit, you can go below your hip waistline onto the small of your back. The other option would be to put your hands on your hips here. So you've got 3 different ways to open up your chest a little bit there, depending on what you might need. And so if you have your hands on your back, you're gonna take your elbows and we're gonna do butterflies almost, where we're gonna bring them in and kind of round our shoulders. And then we're gonna push them out. And we're gonna do this while we're breathing regularly. And I'm gonna encourage you as your elbows and your chest starts to loosen up, to really accentuate your neck and your chin. So when your elbows come back, your neck and your chin come forward. And as your elbows come forward, your neck and your chin come back. So think like a butterfly's gotta fly, it's gotta scoop its wings back and then swooshes that air so that it can flap forward. So we're just opening and closing these elbows, squeezing the blades of your shoulders, poking that chin out, tucking that chin in and letting them elbows fall forward. We can kind of move a little faster if we really start to feel loosened up in our necks and shoulders, but at a comfortable pace. You can close your eyes even and pretend like you're a butterfly looking out at the desert. What's cool about butterflies is they always lead with their hearts usually. So it's a good visualization for us while keeping our hearts soft today. All right, we're gonna take those hands and we're gonna kind of bring them towards our side here and just allow our shoulders to release any tension in a way that feels comfortable to you. I always feel like going side to side with a nice little stretch from my neck to my shoulder. Gets any of those last spots still not awake yet. So this stretch I had fun with coming up with last night. I was trying to make them a little heart-centered. And so we're going to do what I like to call letter arms. So normally I will just take people through the alphabets and we spell out things with our arms. But today I wanted to make it a little special. So we're going to spell out the word love, L-O-V-E, with our arms today. And we're going to give love to both sides of our body. So we're going to start with whichever hand you choose. We're going to put one arm straight up. And we're going to put the other one out like an L. So you can see where we're going with this, right? So we've got L's on one side, and I want you to take the hand that's extended out and make sure it's palm up. And the arm that's above you, your palm should be facing towards your face. So we're going to keep those fingertips nice and open. We don't want to squeeze our hands. We want to let them relax. So if you find your fists tensing up, we're going to open up our fingers. Even allow them to sparkle a little bit. And then I want you to switch directions. So we're going to take the other side. Nice, straight, strong arms, open palms, no tension in these fists. And we're going to give ourselves a nice big L. Deep breath in and out. Now we're going to switch to an O. So we're going to make a big round O above our heads. This is going to be helpful for that stretching with the chest muscles down the side of our body. So we're going to start opening up the sides of our chest here. Nice, strong go. Again, no fists. We don't want tension in these hands. So you want your hands to be nice and loose while the rest of your arms are holding some nice, strong tension for you. Here's our O. If you're standing, you can dip back a little bit if that's helpful. If you're in a good seated position, help open up your chest. We got O's here. Deep breath in. Let it out. Now we're going to do V's. So we're going to take both of our hands and open them wide out. You want to bring them in front of you just a little bit so we're not compromising those shoulders a little bit. So if you feel like this is hurting you, come forward just a little bit with your arms. And again, palms open so that they're facing each other. You almost want to give yourself some tension, like you're pushing love between both of your hands here and just letting that pulse. And just keep breathing. Wiggle your fingers about if you feel like you're getting a little tense. Deep breath in. And let it out. Last but not least, we're going to give ourselves an E. So our head is going to be like the middle part of the E. And we're just going to kind of give ourselves a nice deep stretch. Breathe in. Let it out. Switch to the other side. So just take your arms all the way across. You might feel some creaking and cracking while everything is waking up. Take a deep breath in. Let it out. Come back to center. And now I want you to just take your hands and put them on your head like a big old heart. You can let your fingers touch the top of your head if you would like. But just opening up that chest, keeping these elbows nice and strong. Take a deep breath in. When you breathe in, I want you to breathe in love. And when you exhale, I want you to exhale love. And breathe in love. And breathe out love. We're going to do this for 3 more breaths, and I want you to tell yourself, when I inhale love. When I exhale love. And just breathe. We're going to do this for 2 more breaths. One more breath. And relax your arms. You're welcome to open your eyes. We're going to do one last stretch before we finish up this particular segment. So I would like everybody to take their hands. We're going to do palms together, line up all of our fingers so that our pinkies, ring fingers, middle fingers, first fingers, and thumbs are all lined up. We want to take that thumb and kind of put it right towards our heart chest there. And I like to make sure that the thumbs connect so that it feels like one full solid circuit. And with your hands together, I want you to press your palms with force from your elbows. So like how we were putting love between our hands and kind of squeezing that resistance, I want your elbows to be doing that for you. So you kind of want to squeeze towards the palms, that thumb towards the chest. And this is going to give you some really good opening stretches for this part of your body here. Helps with the pectoral muscles a whole lot. So thumb, resistance from the elbows in, and I want you to just breathe into your nose. Fill up your belly with air. And when you exhale, pull that belly button in towards your spine so that you're almost deflating your belly from all of that air. So we're going to inhale. Exhale. One more breath like this. Inhale. Exhale. And I want you to do a slight turn with your body so that way we can open up the lower sides of our torso and allow some more air to come in. Take a deep breath in and out. We're going to come to the other side and just slowly turn your body. Inhale in And exhale. Come back to center. We're going to take one hand and we're going to drop it towards our side hip, towards the back. And we're going to allow our elbow to come a little bit towards our knee. So instead of just twisting side to side, we're coming down at an angle. So if you bring your elbow towards your knee and just allow your shoulder towards the sky to kind of dip backwards and open up for you. You're doing so good. Take a deep breath in. And exhale, come back to center. You can bring your palms together so that that other hand can go back towards your hip. The hand that's on your chest, that elbow is going to go towards your knee. And just take a deep breath in and out. Coming back to center, bringing both your palms together. I'm going to bow my head slightly to you to tell you thank y'all for stretching with me today. You're welcome to shake out those hands and shake out those arms if you got a really good stretch in from that this morning. So that's just a few heart opening stretches that you can incorporate while you're sitting in between taking folks from point A to point B, or while you got a few moments in your vehicle, or ways that you can just stand up and go outside and greet the sun or the moon as you've got a few moments to yourself. That was a 20-minute practice, but you can break that down kind of in any way that makes sense for your day, or do that little bit a few times a day and see what happens for giving yourself and your heart and your chest space some more attention. This next part that we're going to do is going to be about herbs for the heart and chest. And I feel like, especially this time of year between wind kicking up and allergies, us coming off of the winter cold and flu and COVID seasons right now acting up, that this part of our body tends to get a little neglected because we feel like it's either all here or everything below it. And so this heart and chest area can be very finicky when it comes to plants. So I brought a few different fun facts about a few different plants, depending on what we're navigating in this particular area. I myself am a tea person. I could drink teas all day, every day, hot or iced, any time of year. And I feel like it's one of the best delivery methods for getting a lot of these plants in us. I do have to remind myself and a lot of other folks that there's tea for enjoying, and then there's tea that's medicine. And that tea for medicine may not always be enjoyable, but sometimes it can be. And so I just wanted to share a couple of the teas that I kind of keep stocked regularly here at home for when I am in a mood to have something that's both medicine, but also a little tastier, that I don't feel like having to choke back myself. So the first one that I want to share is Traditional Medicinals. So they are one of my favorite tea brands because they do keep things for medicine in mind while also trying to make things as tasty as possible. So anything by Traditional Medicinals is usually a happy camper in my home. The same thing with the Yogi Tea brand. So we've got some really good yogi teas that I'll talk about in just a minute. And then for on the goes, I am really not mad at Tazo tea. These things you can pick up at your Starbucks or most of your grocery stores, and these Tazo teas on the go can be such a refreshing thing. So those are some of the brands that I like to keep at home on me regularly because I can trust that their plants are going to be good and that the tea is going to taste pretty decent as well. One of the plants that I want to share today that is like the heart of all herbs is going to be hawthorn berries. Hawthorn berries are not something that grow regularly here in the desert. It is definitely something, though, that is accessible to us from local herb shops, from buying plants online, and certainly from picking up tea. Hawthorn is a cardiotonic type of herb. And so what that means is that it is good for keeping the heart healthy, and a little bit goes a long way, especially if we're using it regularly. So any type of tonic herbs are meant to do a tonifying to whatever type of system they're targeting. So with a cardiotonic, it is toning the heart. And what that looks like is like, if you think about toning exercises, right? We're not going to bulk up and change our physique if we're simply just toning. It's a way of maintaining the current muscle structure that we have. So a cardiotonic is going to do that too. It's going to tone the heart muscles and the cardiovascular system, but it's not there to make super huge changes. It's going to just keep it strong enough and keep it toned up enough for what we're working with. And so if you've got some types of heart diseases that are like cardiomyopathy based, or that have any type of weakness in heart muscles, hawthorn could be something that could be introduced on a low and slow basis, so that it's doing an assistive job with strengthening those muscles that are already weakening for lots of reasons, right? As with anything, my disclaimer always is that if you're going to incorporate herbs into your lifestyle, to make sure you check with the folks on your medical team that nothing's going to conflict or contradict each other. So these are just going to be pieces of information I'll share with you for you to check in with your medical team to make sure they make sense if you'd like to incorporate them in. But hawthorn, like I said, very effective on a low and slow basis for supporting weakened cardio muscles and helping to tone that particular part of our body. I feel like there's some plants, like people, that have to just be coupled up though. And so for hawthorn and the heart, I almost always, as an herbalist, love to pair hawthorn with something like hibiscus. So hibiscus is another plant that is also really good as a cardiotonic. It is low and slow, so it's not there to do heart functioning, but it's there to support the heart and the cardiovascular system through some of its properties. But the hibiscus has a additional benefit of also being a nervous system supporter. So I feel like our nervous system and our heart go hand in hand a lot of the times. If we're having some anxiety, or we're having some depression, or we're feeling some nervousness, our heart's going to feel that a lot of the times too. And so this hibiscus and hawthorn combination seem to be not only helpful for toning the heart and keeping the cardiovascular systems happy, but also the nervous system happy too, which kind of help complement each other in a nice way. So one of my first tea bags I showed you was from Traditional Medicinals. They happen to also know the benefit of this combination, so they already put it in a tea bag for you, hawthorn with hibiscus. Now, it does have a couple of other things in there that make it tasty as well, but it's caffeine free, good for the heart, and really tasty, hot or iced. And you don't have to do much else to it other than put your hot water over it and steep it. And so if you want something that's already got the hawthorn and the hibiscus in a good proportion for you, then I highly recommend picking up some tea bags and making your life easy with that. The other thing about hibiscus and the hawthorn together is that the hibiscus has an affinity for the blood. So hawthorn berries, super red. Hibiscus, super red. Our heart and our blood can be super red too. And so it's almost like these plant properties are like attracts like. And so if we're starting to see, we have things like a heart weakness in some of the muscles, but also our blood is doing some funky things, whether that's having difficulty with coagulating, regulating blood pressure, those kind of issues where it's not just the muscle function of the heart, but also the blood functioning that's happening with it. Something like hawthorn and hibiscus paired together can be a very good support system for those kinds of issues. Some other plants that I'd like to talk about that are kind of fun as well. It's one that I feel like is very typical to this holiday too, are roses. So rose is a very interesting herb to get to incorporate into our lifestyle because it can hit us on almost all of our senses. Not all plants have sense to them. Not all plants evoke memories for all of us. And not all plants necessarily will bring a visual to our brains if we hear them or we're unfamiliar with them. But I feel like a rose is almost like a universal flower where everybody can identify what a rose maybe looks like, smells like, possibly can taste like in their face if they can remember something associated with rose or somebody smelling like rose. It just really has a way of impacting all of our senses. And so what's neat about rose is that you can leisurely sprinkle rose petals into a lot of your teas, soups, baked goods, but it's also something that can be incorporated into laundry, perfumes, satchels for sleeping, and other ways that we can incorporate it. Folks are really good at growing roses, especially here in the desert. I am not one of those folks, but I know lots of people who are. And so even just sitting with roses or being around roses can sometimes influence us in the same way as if we were actually ingesting them as like medicine or as a helper. And so rose can be just such a special herb in general, but especially on a holiday like today, I feel like comes to mind. It's the flower of love. And in traditional Chinese medicine, rose is used as a cardiotonic and helpful for heart qi. And so if you are deficient in a heart qi, or you're having heart deficiencies in that line, things like brokenhearted spirits, things like low heartbeats or weakness of the heart rhythm, rose can sometimes be a nice little booster and upliftment to kind of reroute those systems that have been a little sluggish for mental, emotional, physical reasons. So rose can be something that not only we use as a plant ingestible inside of our body, but that we can use with all of our senses to kind of evoke the same properties. Another easy one that I think of around this time of year as well is cinnamon. Cinnamon is something that I use thoroughly throughout the winter, and I start weaning myself off of as the weather gets warmer, because it is a warming herb itself. And so cinnamon is a very good cardio stimulant. It has this warming properties that if we do tend to find ourselves the kind of folks where our hands are cold all the time, or our feet are cold all the time, maybe our nose or the top of our face, like first part is cold all the time, that sometimes can be affected, or attributed to what our heart is doing or what it's experiencing sometimes. And so cinnamon can be a really good way to warm the body from the inside out. It has a really great way of supporting the circulatory system in general. And so if we start to feel like, oh, I just am feeling really tight in my chest, especially, I don't feel like I want to move too much. We find ourselves like in fetal positions where we're protecting our hearts a little bit. We might find that something like cinnamon allows us to open up our heart space that we aren't maybe aware that we're protecting. And it has a way of warming us up so that it comes from this heart space almost, where we start getting warm from the chest out, and it can extend all throughout our system since it's supporting the circulation throughout our whole system. Cinnamon's also a really good herb for relaxing and calming ourselves. So as much as it's going to be a stimulant to the blood and the heart, it is a calming and relaxing influence to the rest of our body, because we're getting enough oxygenated blood throughout our system. So it almost seems contradictory that we have to speed up our blood in our heart in order to calm down sometimes, but that's actually how our systems function. The more oxygen we get, the more everything is like less competitive for that oxygen, and we can actually start to relax and put ourselves in a parasympathetic system. So cinnamon can be really helpful. I also dig cinnamon and rose together. So those are another pair of herbs that I like to couple up. Sometimes I feel like we can just do better when there's more than one of us, or there's a few of us collectively. And so too when it comes to the heart. And so cinnamon and rose are things that you can couple up together. My favorite couple, though, of all time, not just for the heart, but of all herbs in general, they just so happen to also be beneficial for the heart, would be the herbs of lemon balm and skullcap. So lemon balm and skullcap to me are the greatest couple of all times. These two paired together not only support our nervous system and not only support our cardiovascular system, but boy, howdy, do they do some things for our spirit and uplifting our moods. Lemon balm is the type of herb that helps with nervous palpitations in our hearts. It can also be helpful for things like anemia or hypertension, or things that are functional heart disorders where people still have maybe something they were born with their whole lives, or something that they developed, but they are not restricted by those heart limitations. So lemon balm is one of these really gentle ones that is very helpful for keeping systems moving as they are, while also addressing some of those nervousness issues, anemia issues, hypertension issues. Its partner, skullcap, kind of helps support everything else. So while it does help with palpitations, it's not necessarily nervous palpitations as much as it's more of these deep palpitations where rhythm can be affected. So skullcap's going to kind of come in and do the extra stuff that lemon balm needs support with. So while lemon balm helps with functional heart disorders, skullcap takes those functional heart disorders, and if there are some minor restrictions according to that, it's almost like an amped up version of the lemon balm, where it's going to say, okay, where did the lemon balm stop, and I'm going to start to take over in those instances. And skullcap is one that is really helpful for things like worry and anxiety when it starts to really affect the heart. So whereas lemon balm is, I'm starting to get nervous and maybe my heart's a fluttering, skullcap is going to be that I'm having anxiety to the point where my heart rhythm is being affected. So it's that intensity level that kind of gets ramped up. So does skullcap with the lemon balm. So that's why I feel like with most relationships, there's a dominant personality maybe and a not so dominant personality, and so I feel like the lemon balm and skullcap do a really good example of how we can balance those things together. And like I said, outside of the heart and chest, they're just very helpful for brain, for body, and helping us to really reset some of those things that get built up in our system, and it can kind of just bring us back to a center. So lemon balm and skullcap are my two favorites. There's a minor couple of plants that can be helpful for some specific situations for the heart, but in general are good for the body that I wanted to mention. The first one would be reishi mushrooms. So mushrooms have become all of the rage for lots of folks in their health for very good reasons. They can do lots of wonderful things for the body. Most mushrooms are what we in the plant world call adaptogens. So they go into the body and they help regulate things that are a little off balance. They don't necessarily lower things, and they don't necessarily just raise things. It's just depending on what your system needs. So an adaptogen is going to take whatever's needed and adapt the levels accordingly to bring us back to center. So a lot of mushrooms are really good for that. Reishi mushrooms in specific, though, are immunomodulators. So what that means is that they help regulate our immune system. And if our immune system is running optimally, so can our heart then, because if our body is constantly fighting off bacterial, viral infections, is constantly at a state of depletion, then that means our heart's got to work a little harder to make sure that everything's getting what it needs. And so the reishi mushrooms have a way of giving our heart a break to only do the level of work that it needs and not more than necessary. And so reishi mushrooms are helpers in that way. They are also part of traditional Chinese medicine that focuses on the heart. And so when there are heart yin or yang deficiencies, that reishi mushroom can come in and balance those things accordingly when it comes to traditional Chinese medicine. The other minor character I wanted to talk about today was plantain. So plantain is an herb that actually grows really well here in Arizona, above 5,000 feet, like most of the good plants around here. They just don't like the hot valley, and I understand that. But the plantain is a super cooling plant. So I find that it can be helpful for the heart when it is hyperlipidemia. So if we've got issues with fatty heart tissues or fat in the arteries, like clogged arteries kind of issues, if we have issues associated with the electricity in our heart being a little off chemistry, or if we have issues with any type of heart pains associated with the nerves around our chest area, plantain is a cooling plant that can kind of come in and take that level of electric fire and reduce it in a way that's going to let it rebalance ourselves. Think about when a computer gets too hot, and sometimes we got to shut it down, or we've got to move it out of the sun or get it into a place where it can actually cool off and get back to running optimally. So goes our heart sometimes. And so something like plantain can be helpful for cooling off the system and allowing it to get to a functional, optimal running place again. So those are some of the herbs that I wanted to share with y'all about this. There's also here in the desert, we have lots of night blooming cactus. So night blooming cacti, like I think the genus is going to be Cirrus, right? So night blooming Cirrus varieties, which there are dozens upon dozens here in our desert. Those kind of plants can also be very helpful for the heart. They are not to be consumed internally. And I would really, really caution about any type of topical or skin absorption, because a lot of them can just be toxic or high intensity for our systems. And with these desert plants, a little goes a long way. So even if we get some of the prickers or stickers inside of our fingers, or we just happen to hold the bloom a little bit in our hand, those compounds can be very sensitive and get through our skin super easy. So night blooming cactus, great for the heart, not to be consumed. Avoid touching them in general. They are special though, because if you commune with these plants, if you take some time to sit with them, to kind of whisper your secrets and all of your heart-filled desires with them, or just choose to spend a couple moments admiring what a wonder they are for our desert and our world in general, they have a very strong affinity for the heart when it comes to spirit, flower essence medicine. So all flowers and plants, like people, we have our core essences that kind of make us who we are and do what we do. And we can tap into those essences with the plants by communing with them, by extracting them into actual flower essences that we can do all kinds of things with. But I feel like sometimes the best way to hang out with plants is to do exactly that, is to just hang out with them, have a conversation with them, share a little bit of yourself with them, and then be surprised what they may share of themselves with you. And so that would be my last recommendation for plants, but with those caveats of don't eat them, don't touch them if you don't have to. For these last few minutes together, I want to do a sweet little meditation that's going to allow us to really get into this heart space that we've opened up physically, and that we're starting to think about caring for differently, maybe with some of these herbs. Yes, Michelle?
Before we jump into meditation, in the chat, somebody asked about the name of the tea that goes with like the lemon balm. Can you find that combination already?
You can. So you can find a couple things. Traditional Medicinals makes just lemon balm. So you can get just the lemon balm tea bag. A lot of their blends will have lemon balm and skullcap in them. So check out some of the cool boxes for the ingredients. If I'm not mistaken, I think this hawthorn with hibiscus may have lemon balm, but not skullcap. Skullcap is typically one I find myself adding to things. However, let me double check. This has lemon balm. So like the yogi tea that I was talking about earlier, this one has lemon balm with elderberry. There's no skullcap in it, but there's cinnamon and there is hibiscus. And so there's a couple of other cardiotonic herbs inside of here. So I really just recommend, I know the box may say lemon balm and elderberry, but there's actually like 10 other herbs inside of here. So just read your tea boxes and packages. And like I said, with the yogi traditional medicinals, you can't go wrong. They're all going to be chocked full of really good things in them.
Thank you.
Great question. But also hit up your local herb shops. There's Tangled Root Botanicals in Glendale. There's desert herbs out in the Mesa area. And so you can find awesome people who make teas locally, who will make you custom teas, and also that you can just explore on your own by buying loose leaf tea herbs for. So also that's one of my jams. If you have a question, send me your email address and I will send you way too much tea information. Oh, good question, though. All right. I see another chat. We're going to see if there's any more questions before we pop up. Oh, yes. And then at the grocery store, that's the best part. You can pick up traditional medicinals or yogis at Fry's. You can pick them up at Walgreens. You can pick them up at Sprouts or Whole Foods. So you can find them at lots of grocery stores. Target, like accessible. All right, my friends, I want you to get into a comfortable position where you can spend the next 10 minutes with your eyes closed, nice and relaxed. You're welcome to turn off your cameras if your cameras are on and your mics if you want to, but I want you to get comfortable in a place where you can close your eyes, and we're going to try a little meditation. I'm going to put some music on while we're doing that. Let's see what's on this playlist. All right, so I want you to just relax for a few moments and close your eyes and just breathe. I want you to be super proud of yourself for taking this hour of yourself and to really invest in your heart space, because that's something that is really important to honor. We don't always give ourselves the time and space that we need for our heart. Our heart space is where our empathy and compassion centers lay. It's from where the root of our abilities for acceptance and transformation can take hold. So it's really important that we honor this heart space within ourselves. And the stronger that we make that for us, the stronger our roles that we extend out to, whether it's parent or spouse, caregiver, partner, community member, friend, can all be strengthened from that same heart space. So thank you all for being here and giving to yourself. And I know it'll only make you stronger throughout your days and weeks as you keep giving to others. Our heart typically governs how we relate to others. And so I want you to just take a deep breath in, and I want you to think about your heart space right now. And as you're breathing in from your chest, I want you to think about what color is your heart emanating? And is it a color that you enjoy? Is it a color you're happy with? Is it a color you feel good about extending out from yourself? And I want you to just breathe. And as you breathe in, I want you to see the shades of your heart space getting brighter and lighter. And when you exhale out, I want you to see the color of your heart space getting darker and transitioning. And just keep breathing in and out, watching your color of your heart space go from bright to dark. And just breathe. I want you to take a deep breath in and imagine this heart space color of yours encircling you from head to toe. I want you to feel that heart space color just pouring right out of your chest, melting over your shoulders, up your throat to your chin and down your chest towards your belly. And as you breathe in and breathe out, you're just being circled and enveloped into this beautiful color all around you. And just keep breathing. I want you to feel the color of your heart space from the top of your head down to the tips of your toes. And give yourself all of the love that you have to give from your heart space throughout your whole self. And just breathe. And I want you to think about how this color of yours from your heart space, just circling all around you, gets to extend out to everybody around you. And just breathe. I want you to watch the color of your heart space spill out over you, out to the ones you love, out to the ones you work with or see every day while you're out and about. And just breathe in and out, watching your colors float throughout the different streets or buildings of your day. And just breathe. Watching you paint your heart space all across the town. Extend out to the birds and the trees. Beautiful mountains we got all around us in this lovely desert. And just breathe. Paint the whole town in the color of your heart space as you breathe in and breathe out. And on these next few breaths, I want you to feel all of that same color coming right back to you. But now it's going to pull in all the colors from everywhere around you. It's going to pull a little bit of love in from this desert to you as it's coming back. Just breathe. It's Going to pull a little bit of color in from all of your friends and family members that yours extended out to, co-workers and folks you see every day. And just breathe. All these colors coming back from you from all throughout your day, all the places and faces and beings of your life, coming right back to your heart space. All the colors coming right back from your toes and your knees and your head and your face, all moving up towards your heart space. Coming right back to you as you're breathing. Because you certainly deserve all of the love right back to your heart space that you extend out everywhere else you go. There is an infinite supply of love. And just breathe. And as you're lying there, breathing, feeling all of this love you just gave out to the world and got back to yourself, I want you to tell yourself, I direct love and light to myself and others. And just breathe. I direct love and light to myself and others. You can tell yourself, I feel my heart opening, and I know there's room in there for me. Some of us may need to hear, I forgive myself and set myself free from heartache. And just breathe. Some of us may also need to hear, my heart is free from all wounds of the past. And just breathe. On this next breath, tell yourself, my heart is centered. I am loved. I accept things as they are. My heart is free. And take a deep breath in. And let it out. And for these last couple of moments together, I want you to start sending some love to your toes and wiggling those about. And sending some love to your legs and your knees and wiggling those. Love to your thighs and hips, to your belly, to your chest, to your shoulders and arms. Send love to your fingertips, to your throat, to your face, to your head, neck. You are surrounded by love, and you are so very loved today and every day, my friends. I want you to take your right hand, place it on your shoulder of your left shoulder, and then take your left hand and put it on your right shoulder. Give yourself a nice big hug today. Squeeze yourself real nice and tight and tell yourself, I love you. And you can whisper nice little sweet loving messages of loving kindness to yourself while you're hugging you. And when you're ready, you can release your hands and open your eyes. I'm going to keep my hands on my heart center and tell you all thank you, thank you, thank you again for being here with us this morning, but most importantly for being here with you this morning. This is something that I feel like we just don't get enough of as humans. It's time to really connect and focus on our hearts as individuals, let alone the sweet opportunity to get to do it all together today. So thanks for being at my Arizona birthday Valentine's today. I appreciate y'all showing up and again, taking the time to really nourish and support your heart space today. And I hope it's something that you can keep doing the rest of today and throughout the rest of your days. If you have any questions, type them on in. I'm going to stay on here for a few more minutes if you do. But thank y'all for being here and joining us this morning.
Thank you, Louisa. And I really want to thank you so much for this morning. This was fantastic. And everybody who's watching this recording, Louisa is here with us as an AmeriCorps member. She's here to support our community. You guys can work one-on-one with Louisa. It's absolutely amazing. Like, I'm totally going to book a session with you. I'm so interested in all of these herbs after hearing you speak. And I am like, my mind is going in a million directions about how we can help this community with your vast knowledge. So thank you for sharing what you did today. You know,
it is my
don't
pleasure.
know what you don't know. And when people start just talking about their passions and all of this wonderful knowledge, it was just mind blowing. Thank you so much.
The hardest part is wrangling it down into what hour and achieving myself. So thank you.
I'm sure. Thank you so much. If you ladies have any questions, go ahead and type them in the chat. We'll wait a few minutes.
You're welcome to unmute yourselves and just jump on into this conversation as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. And now I have to decide which tea I'm going to make myself. I think I'm going to have to go for this hawthorn and hibiscus today.
I know. I want to run out to the grocery store now. I'm like, I want to go buy some tea.
I do. I have a little bit of a tea obsession. So usually I'm a loose leaf tea person, but I mean, I get it. Life on the go. You just need a tea bag. So.
No, and that's great too, because it's so convenient for us, right? Like it's like, we don't want to be like, oh, it's one more thing. But if it's like, oh, I can actually just go to a company and buy exactly what I need.
You know, I feel like that's the perfect example of meeting myself where I'm at versus how am I going to treat myself for the work. So if I'm going to meet myself where I'm at, I'm going to grab a tea bag because that's better than not having the tea that I want or the extra support. But when I'm going to take the time to do, I call it slow movement. I'm going to put the kettle on. I'm going to hang out with myself in this cup of tea. I may sit outside. I may read a book, but those are going to be the difference of that's coming versus this is what's happening. And I know when to balance the two. So that's sometimes we just got to meet ourselves where we're at, and that's okay. But other times, boy, can we treat ourselves right.
Yes. Well, thank you again. I really appreciate it, Louisa. And
absolutely.
For those of you who came today, thank you so much. And we're going to have to book some more of these because this is fantastic knowledge. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. I see you, Lisa. Absolutely. And it like I feel like teas are just such a good option for that reason. I'm also very sensitive. I got lots of health issues as an Army vet that like medications just can't do, and teas and plants can be helpful in such a different way. And so absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Have a great Valentine's Day in Arizona.
Yes. 200, 110th birthday. Bye, y'all.